Our first speaker is Nihad Awad, CAIR Executive Director.
Thank you, Ibrahim. Good morning, and thank you all for coming. The controversy over Park 51 in Lower Manhattan is a fabricated controversy. It is designed to pit Americans against each other and divide our society. Although a local but vocal minority has launched this campaign against Muslims, this group is mainly headed by Pamela Geller and Robert Spencer. They know very well that the American Muslim community is part of the society, but they harbor anti-Muslim feelings, and they wanted to stoke anti-Muslim sentiment in the society by exploiting 9/11 and the legitimate fears that some Americans have. They turned this fear into fear-mongering, and free speech became hate speech. It led to hate crimes, and as you have seen nationwide, we've seen Muslims being attacked just because they're Muslim. Places of worship have been vandalized, including future construction sites like the Islamic Center in Tennessee. Unfortunately, we have seen lack of leadership among politicians, and also we've seen opportunist political leaders trying to win political seats at the expense of others like Muslims, and using all means, including calling Muslims Nazis, like Newt Gingrich when he compared Muslims to the Nazis. Unfortunately, the political leadership within the Republican Party has been silent, and the Democratic leadership also could have been more forceful in defending the American Muslim community's rights to freedom of religion. What they have done is they're trying to tell the world and tell Americans that Muslims do not belong here, that Muslims are the others, when we are in fact all Americans. They try to portray Muslims as foreigners. This is a dangerous repeat of history. If it's allowed, it's going to hurt all of us. Today we're here to share with you the steps that we have been taking to help our community and the society to cope with this fabricated controversy. Number one, we have designed a toolkit, a Muslim response guide to these challenges, and we made them available to Islamic centers, imams, and leaders in our community nationwide. We have been working in unison with national Muslim organizations, Christian and Jewish organizations, to show America that we are united and we will not allow the voices of division to succeed. This also includes a PSA. You will shortly see some of them. They're designed to fight back against the voices of hatred and division, those who are trying to show American Muslims as foreigners. In fact, this PSA responds directly to the stereotypes and misinformation about the Muslim community. Muslim Americans were among the victims, and also Muslim Americans were among the first responders. We should all be proud of the fact that we're all united, and we also should acknowledge the fact that 9/11 hit us all hard, and we should not allow those who seek political and religious division in the United States to win. The second issue I would like to talk to you about is the planned Quran Day burning ceremony. We have to share with you that this very church is a small, bankrupt church. The leadership of that church is morally bankrupt, and they're trying to seek attention and self-promotion at the expense of others, including acting in an un-Christian behavior. These people do not represent Christianity, do not represent America. In fact, we should share with you that the national Christian organizations such as National Association of Evangelicals have condemned this behavior. We would like Muslims in this country and around the world to know that these people represent the few and their behavior is condemned. And Muslims here and abroad should exercise self-restraint. We condemn this behavior and this act that will take place on 9/11, but we as a community, as a nation, and as a world community, we should act together. We should not be distracted by this reckless behavior. We should continue doing community service. Our community for the past 9 years on 9/11 has been involved in community service, like feeding the poor, sheltering the homeless, working with other interfaith organizations. These are the projects that need to be highlighted on 9/11, but not the act of reckless people who are trying to divide Americans. And also let me just remind my fellow Muslims here and abroad of the fact that the Quran instructs us not to descend to the levels of those who try to harm us. The Quran says, God in the Quran says, وَلَا تَسْتَوِي الْحَسَنَةُ وَلَا السَّيِّئَةُ ادْفَعْ بِالَّتِي هِيَ أَحْسَنُ فَإِذَا الَّذِي بَيْنَكَ وَبَيْنَهُ عَدَاوَةٌ كَأَنَّهُ وَلِيٌّ حَمِيمٌ. Evil and good are not equivalent. Repel that which is good. Repel that which is evil with that which is good. For the person you might have an enmity with might become a close friend. This is the Islamic spirit. We cannot exchange an insult with another insult. We have to keep the higher more ground by reaching out to people, even those who misunderstand us and may harbor hostility.
We've launched a campaign that we will deal with trying to protect mosques, and houses of worship. And it doesn't have to be a mosque either. Any house of worship. At one time we had a rash of church burnings. We were involved in that also. So any houses of worship in America, certainly are houses that need to be respected, and certainly the Constitution and the First Amendment needs to be respected.
Good morning. On behalf of the Council of Muslim Organizations in Greater Washington's Executive Committee, we're requesting all of the Islamic centers in remembrance of the thousands of our neighbors who lost their lives on September the 11th, that we would not hold celebrations that culminate with the end of Ramadan. We recognize that many people in the Islamic centers have begun the fast of Ramadan and will have the Eid prayer on Friday, September the 10th, and therefore we're asking them to delay their celebrations not to coincide with 9/11. For those who started the month of Ramadan a day later and would hold their prayers on Saturday, September the 11th, it's our hope that they would make their prayer and to meet their religious obligations, but to defer their celebrations until September the 12th. I'd like to also say that this is permissible under our religious rulings, to be able to defer our days as is necessary in the society. I think it's a good statement on behalf of the Muslim community that we not be celebrating while we consider the loss of our fellow citizens. I'd like to also say that we're calling in the Greater Washington area for people to join on September 12th, the 9/11 Unity Walk. The 9/11 Unity Walk has been something that we've been engaged in for many years, bringing together Christians, Muslims, Jews, Sikhs, Hindus, Zoroastrians, Jains, and people of all traditions or of no tradition, walking together from the synagogue, past the Sikh temple, by the ashram. We'll stop on that walk on Massachusetts Avenue by the Islamic Center, and we will end the walk at the Gandhi Memorial. So we invite everyone to join us. And again, in celebrating this month of fasting, we'd like to conclude that month with a reflection and prayers for those who have sacrificed for the good of our nation. Thank you so much. Ramadan Mubarak and Assalamu Alaikum.